Call the meeting to order. June 24th, 2026, 4 p.m., the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the 29th Thomas Water District. This meeting may be viewed on the district's website at www.29water.net. The board reserves the right to discuss only or take action on any item on the agenda. Please make sure your cell phones are off. And roll call to order, please.
Director Arthur is absent. Director Bowden.
Here.
Director Coghill.
Here.
Director Leeser.
Here.
Director Woods.
Present.
And in defense of Director Arthur, he may be just a little late.
Yes.
Let's see, Director of Operations. Could you do the flag salute, please, sir?
Yes, sir. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mike. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
There are.
Okay, public comments. Please complete a request to be heard form prior to the start of the meeting. The public may address the board for 3 minutes on district-related matters. Government code prohibits the board from taking action on any matters that are not on the agenda. However, the board may refer the matter to further consideration. I would assume, since there's no audience, there's no public comments.
There are none.
Item 1, public hearing on proposed continuation of water availability assessment. So that means we need to open the public hearing. So that means it's going to take a motion and a second.
To open? I'll make the motion to open for public hearing.
I will second it.
Roll call vote, please.
Not needed for opening.
Public hearing? To open the public hearing?
You don't need a roll call.
Don't need a roll call.
No.
Okay. So now the public hearing is open. Is there anyone that would wish to speak on the proposed continuation of a water availability assessment? And since we don't have anybody at the microphone, I'm going to assume there's nobody who needs to do that.
I will move that we close the public hearing.
I will second that we close.
Okay? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I should have done that the first time. Item number 2, consider resolution 2608, continuing the current existing level of water availability assessment for fiscal year 2026-2027. It's open for discussion.
Presentation. Let me just give you a breakdown. Good afternoon, Board President and members of the board. At the March meeting, you directors passed Resolution 2604 with the intention to continue with the existing water availability assessment. So before you today, before the start of the new fiscal year, the district brings back the current, continuing the current level of water availability assessment for fiscal year 26-27. Current assessment fees allow each parcel within the district boundary to pay a $30 fee, with the maximum charge being $1,200. In the current upcoming fiscal year budget, 26-27, the district has water availability budgeted at $592,000. Open it up for discussion.
Director Bowden? Director Woods?
No, nothing.
None for me?
So staff would just be making the recommendation to approve resolution 2608, continuing the existing water availability assessment.
I do have one question. Where it says the district currently has a water availability assessment in place that is levied on all parcels within the district, with the exception of the properties owned by the California Bureau of Land Management, government agency, obviously, and properties that were designated as fire only, properties within certain annexation areas. Can we have staff check on that? Maybe under new business or under director's comments and future agenda
So
items?
under future agenda items, let's bring that back and make that an item. Just for you guys that are aware, fire only and near fire only were during the 4AD. So in 84, when we annexed in Desert Heights and Cooper, there were people that opted out of not getting water service, and they were considered fire-only services. Since we have assessed the new parcels for when we're adding a service, 20-year back assessments went away, meaning those people, this has been an item that we've talked about, where how do we go back after fire-only and Lear fire-only properties to also have them start paying the water availability assessment. So at Board of Directors comments and future agenda items, let's bring that back so that we can bring that back as a discussion.
Agreed?
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Do you
So on
need-
item number 2, we
do
need
you-
a motion and a second and then a
You
roll
do
call
your
vote.
motion then, right?
Yes.
So I would move to approve the recommendation and adopt Resolution 2608, the continuing of the current existing level of water availability assessments for 26-27 fiscal year.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. Roll call vote, please.
Director Arthur is absent. Director Bowden?
All right.
Director Leeser?
Aye.
Director Woods? Director Coghill?
Yes. Okay, agenda item number 3, consider resolution 26-09, amending the district reserve policy. Amanda?
Before you guys is Resolution 2609, amending our district's reserve policy. The recommendation in the policy is to keep current levels of operating and maintenance at a target of a minimum of 180 days. That didn't change. Having a capital reserve for the district's average 5-year CIP. Making a 5-year or an emergency reserve at $2 million for a new well construction for failure. And the primary and secondary impact fees did not change because those are funded by the developer, even in the last policy. So today before you, through our rate study, we approve the rates and then we bring the reserve policy back as a cleanup item for you guys to have a discussion and talk about anything new in the reserve policy. So before you is Resolution 2609, our new reserve policy.
Discussion?
I read through all of Section 1, delineating all of the reserves, capital, operating, emergency. I just don't have any questions about that. I think it's all been very transparent as we've been moving forward, so I don't have anything, Mr. President.
Thank you. Dr. Bowden? Dr. Leeser?
Same thing. Read it all through and had no questions. Thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion and a second to adopt the resolution.
I would move that we would adopt Resolution 2609, amending the district's reserve policy, and accept the recommendation of General Manager.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote, please, Cindy.
Director Arthur is absent. Director Bowden?
Aye.
Director Leeser?
Aye.
Director Woods?
Aye.
Director Coghill?
Yes. Item 4, consider resolution 2610, adopting the proposed budget and compensation plan of the 20th Palms Water District for fiscal year 2026-2027. This is the same one we were informed of at our last meeting. Amanda?
So making the presentation for Resolution 2610 is Scott Nelson with Starting Line Advisory. Again, it would be approving and adopting the proposed budget and compensation plan of the 29 Palms Water District for fiscal year 26-27. And Scott has a slideshow presentation. So.
Good evening, Board of Directors. I have just a few high-level highlights I want to hit in this presentation. This is the same presentation provided last month, just updated for our few minor changes we made. Matt, if you could advance just one slide there. Just real quick overview of the budget document, just again, for anyone watching this. Our budget's broken into 4 parts. We have a high-level budget summary, line item, budget detail in Schedule B, a personnel detail in Schedule C, and Schedule D is our detailed capital plan, which includes 2-year projected amounts for upcoming years. And main thing I want to cover tonight is changes from our May draft budget. Operating revenues saw a slight decrease from the prior budget, about $29,000. That's mainly just driven by consumption trends and also seeing the effects of the new rates. You know, the rate increase went into effect effective March 1, if I'm not mistaken. We don't see that effect in billing until April. And part of year 1 of the rate study is a little bit of shifting of the different fixed fees between different meter sizes and such. So year 1, our new revenue projection, we're trying to be as precise as possible. So that's why it's updated a bit from our prior assumption, but even as we get to this next budget cycle, we might see, in our July, August reports, a slight disconnect as the rates settle out. Until we have one full year of new rate data, it's hard to, pin down the exact number. The rate consultants do their projection, we do ours based on what we actually see. And marrying the two will take us about a year, so updated projection there for that reason. Non-operating revenues, very minor decrease based on actual penalty receipts during the month of April. And then operating expenses, overall, decrease, operating expenses also equal to about $29,000, driven by savings in our source of supply for electricity. Again, updated projections when we bring in our actual results through April, and just fine tuning what we expect electricity-wise resulted in a savings. Some uptick in chemical costs based on chemical deliveries received in April, and some other decreases to our treatment wells budget as it relates to testing. We do have a spike in this year's budget for testing related to the timing of our UCMR 5s. So next year we actually have a slight decrease in our testing budget as we go through that 3-year cycle. No changes to personnel and capital. We can back it up just one there, Matt. No worries. No changes to personnel and capital. Overall, this budget has changed $2,000 from our prior draft. So bottom line change, less than 1% from what we brought last month.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Refined electricity projection resulting in $50,000 decrease. Could you give me any kind of example of what that means?
I would
Where
say
it's coming from, actually.
Sure. The actual, simply put, when we do our projection, we take everything we have this year and estimate 3 months out. We had inadvertently included an extra month from the prior year. That's what would cause a spike of that magnitude. So that was just an Excel formula.
So you find your own mistake and then it makes it look good. There you go.
I can't believe we were off by $2,100.
Yeah.
All right. That's
With
it.
that-
That just, it kind of shocked me. I go, well, how did that happen?
I agree. I think we would have, if it made it in the budget, we would have been trending under all year and
All
wondered,
year
well,
long,
how'd we get there? I wouldn't have found it until the next year's budget, and I caught it in a QC
found it.
review here.
What is that like $21 in my household budget or $2.10?
All right.
With that, if we can just click over to the budget summary, Schedule A.
Heck, I was hoping
One
Edison
more
just
there.
overcharged us and had to owe us money.
Oh, you're good.
Every month for the next 10 years.
All good. Technical issues here, trying to bring it up.
Sorry, all of a sudden it froze
End of slideshow.
and the slide slows.
Good job.
Start the slideshow over.
Is there a 12-year-old in the audience?
Yeah, it's because we're running the old office suite.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right. I'm just going to cover what's in the packets anyway. So Schedule A, which is included in the packets, nothing in my presentation isn't also in the packets besides those highlights of changes. Schedule A, bottom line, increase, decrease in fund balance, line 14. We're still looking at a big spend of reserves this year, $3.5 million. This is following the plans laid out in our rate study. We have high levels of reserve right now that has been built up by capital that has taken a while to get off the ground. Some of those big projects are moving this year, and we anticipate to spend that money this year. So, with that, I'm happy to answer any questions of the board. If anyone would like to look at any schedule in more detail, I'm happy to get into it, but I won't belabor the process.
Thank you, Scott. Director Woods, comments, questions, criticism?
No,
suggestions?
no, not on this. It's a great job as usual.
Mr. Leeser?
None?
I'm happy. Thank you, Scott. So, we need to
Make a motion to,
and a second.
yeah, I'll make the motion to adopt Resolution 26-10 and adopt the proposed budget and comp plan for fiscal year 26-27.
That's the one, need a second. So, roll call vote, please, Cindy.
Yes. Director Arthur is absent. Director Bowden?
Aye.
Director Leeser?
Aye.
Director Woods?
Aye.
Director Coghill.
Yes.
Motion
All right,
passes.
thank you all for that. Item 5, approved budget augmentation request for Kennedy Jenks for well 11B drinking water state revolving fund application. General Manager?
Kennedy Jenks has been in the process of helping the district prepare a drinking water state revolving grant application for treated water at well 11B. Well 11B is the well that's west of town, closest to Joshua Tree, that has high concentrations of chromium-6 or hexavalent chrome. Given the size and the complexity, Kennedy Jenks has submitted a budget augmentation for $48,550 to complete the application, provide services during the evaluation of the application with the state board, and to provide coordination and continued project managing of the project. There are current funds for applications when we go for grants already in the master service agreement with Kennedy Jenks of right around $35,000 that they have already used. This is just, it is under my spending limit, but because KJ is using it kind of in the master service agreement and we're adding bid to it, I wanted you guys to approve what we already have approved, but to approve the extra money. So we are looking for the budget augmentation to be approved with KJ to continue to help us with well 11B. Part of the grant application to understand is the desktop study and everything we've done as far as this grant application is part of what we're going back after through the grant process. So if we are approved on the grants, I'm hoping that we will get paid back the desktop study and some of the work that KJ has already done. So open for discussion.
So it's high according to the state of California. What is it that they're going to study? I don't want a detailed thing. What is it that they're going to do in their desktop study?
Well, the desktop study is complete, so this is totally like the next step. We can give a presentation of the desktop study. The desktop study at well 11B shows 3 different processes that are kind of a little over our heads, is included as water specialty. We do activated alumina at the fluoride removal plant. They're talking about positive, negative exchange, ion exchange, kind of like we do at the treatment plant, but there's also 2 or 3 other processes with chrome.
They're looking into ways to get it out of the water.
Right, so there's 3 pilot studies that once you go from the desktop study to the application, the next part of what we would do is go after pilot testing of one of the 3 processes that they're already telling us they would use. So the grant application is big because if we decide we're not going to spend the money at well 11B, we just think the money is not worth it for 400 GPM is what we produce there. At a certain point through this application process is where we say, hey, we need to pump the brakes, or hey, treatment process is coming back at $4 million. Is that worth it to this district to pay for $4 million treatment on a 400 GPM well? I would rather see us spend the money wisely and go drill another well that doesn't have some of the constituents that we're dealing with at well 11B.
Yeah, just ain't worth the squeeze.
Does that make
I
sense?
think it's all making sense. The whole idea is how can we get it out of there? And what would it cost us to do that?
And also, how can the state help? If the state is making pretty hard maximum contaminant level for Chrome-6, how does the state help disadvantaged communities figure out these solutions? So instead of us throwing money at a treatment process, we're doing a little bit of the evaluation through the desktop study, and now the application process to get to piloting before we go to full build and design. So part of full build and design, and the reason why KJ has come back with a pretty steep number, it was a little hard to swallow on this, is they've had to get every one of their leads at KJ to understand what this process will be, including how many pages of plans is this project going to consist of. So they've really dove in, if this goes to design, where they know we should have a closer number, unlike our project for the redundant reservoir, where we got an engineer estimate back and there was still 1.3 million to be added. This, I'm hoping if we get to the point where we do an engineer estimate, we really have a solid number on what it would be to treat water at well 11B.
Yeah, because that'd be what it'd be to would it be different in another well? Is that what you're saying?
So every well could be different. Right now at well 11B, we're treating arsenic with a product called bay oxide, and that's pretty much an in and out process. We don't have to play with the pH like we do at the treatment plant. What we're looking at well 11B currently is multiple trains that some would remove the arsenic, and then as it went down the train, now we would remove chrome 6. But the other one that we have to worry about at well 11B is also our fluoride. So we have 3 constituents at that well that we're worried about.
And all these constituents are what we call naturally occurring, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
They're all just part of what comes and goes.
Correct. So remember, the chrome 6 MCL was never there. It's a new standard. The total chromium count, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, we had no detect at that well? 50 parts per million? No detect?
Yeah, total.
Total was what the chromium or your chrome number was. They've broken into total chromium to chrome 6, and it's 10 parts per billion. We're at about 18 parts at that well. So if we want to bring that water to the public right now, we would have to put out our scare tactics. We would have to bring material to them. We'd have to come up with a chrome 6 compliance plan, and then we'd have to be in compliance within 3 years. There are districts close by that are in their chrome 6 compliance plan, and it's really scary because they don't have a well that's not above the chrome 6 level. Our other wells are below the chrome 6 level. So it's just the study and the work that we're doing at well 11B to then bring back to you guys to say, is it going to be worth it to put this treatment on this well?
And cost-wise, it looks like a new well would be cheaper overall, wouldn't it?
A new well in an area producing
If we
more
hit a
water
good well.
instead of treating 400 GPM
Yeah.
is the direction I think that the district will be looking at. But again, I would like us to do our studies, and I would like us to spend some money to figure out this treatment process isn't going to be worth it for this well. Now, one of the other options about well 11B was always bringing water up from well 10 and trying to blend. That's a big thing in the water industry, is blending water instead of treating water. You bring a better water source up and you try to blend and then make sure you're below the MCLs. Right now, well 10 doesn't have constant water down there. I think it's 10 and 13 down there. So that isn't an option right now.
What's 1013?
What's that?
Well 10, well 13.
Well 10 and well 13, down
Oh,
below,
10, 13.
closer to well 11. Yeah.
So does the USGS study, will it tell us more on our odds and effort later?
USGS will have nothing to do with treatment.
Won't tell us the surrounding areas?
No.
Okay.
It will give us an idea of
Aquifers.
unsaturated zones with nitrates, septic penetration levels of where the septic water is.
Aquifers.
It's really just
aquifers.
that saturation belt then,
Yes,
Okay.
correct, yeah,
of existing wells?
correct.
Because they're not testing random areas, right? They're just testing their well areas?
They're still testing random areas, but we still know the aquifer areas that they'd be
Okay.
testing, and they're giving us a lot of input on where we want to see some of those challenges that we see as the water experts. Where would we want to see multi-depth wells and different
Okay.
constituents? So
Thank you.
it's kind of cool to be a part of the USGS study that way.
Any other comments, questions? We're on item 5, if you'd like to jump in. While he's looking, I have one question. Do we have any forecasted dollar amount for the grant?
Preliminary numbers for well 11B treatment, even on the low end, are looking about $4 million. So we would be looking for a cost share, if anything. A lot of times with SRF loans or grant applications like we're doing, they will first come back with you at a low interest loan, which is not an option this district would look at for 400 GPM, or at least the direction from staff would not be to look at something like that. I think it's, again,
Yeah.
it's not worth the
Seriously,
squeeze,
no
right?
squeeze.
Could we now think about putting that third well in the wash where we already have kind of permitted for the third well, 14 and 17 behind Stater Brothers, good water. I would rather see us drill a well that produces 900 GPM that we don't have to treat, or spend $4 million on a well that we have to treat at well 11B.
That's a no-brainer.
But again, that's some of this study is going to help us get there and make those decisions.
How old is well 11B?
Well 11B isn't that old. We recently re-drilled because we had well 11A. It did fail. The steel failed, and we did drill. Mike, do you remember the year we drilled it?
10, 12.
maybe about 10 years ago, I think so it's a newer stainless steel, I believe, well,
Case
good
well.
but we knew the constituents were still there. Part of the process of re-permitting that well the second time when it was 11B is we couldn't pull more water out of the ground. So even though it's a bigger well and it can produce more water if we put the equipment down, we would have to go through a re-permitting process, and then we would still have the Chrome 6 issues. So we did install well 11B. I think we could still use it for certain things, and we own a pretty big parcel out there, I believe 40 acres, that goes all the way down to
The wash,
the wash down there.
Copper Mountain
So
Wash.
it's a good property to keep, and it could be a well that we use at a certain point to maybe blend if blending becomes an option. That would be the best option, is if we ever found a well close enough that we could blend with. But I still think it's worth it for this district to put the time and energy into the desktop study, the application process, and maybe even get to the piloting so we can know further how much this is going to cost to treat.
I agree.
Besides that, it shows the state in good faith.
Shows we're doing our diligence. And remember, I think the one thing that we should all be aware of is we didn't have to put our Chrome 6 compliance out.
Yeah.
Because we've taken that well offline. And right now, Mike is still pulling samples monthly from it. During the summer, if we get to the point where we need that well, we can run it for running annual average, and we are talking with our state engineer about still running it for running annual average purposes, another water source into the system.
Well, we still need to do all this stuff to improve our eligibility for grant funding too,
We gotta
correct?
keep that
Yeah.
well kind of
Okay.
active.
That's what I took away when I read all that.
But not active as far as going into the system, active as far as Mike every month is still continuing to pull samples and make sure that
Yeah.
we're staying up with the state.
I'm with
Michael, do
you.
you have any questions?
I think it's a worthwhile investment.
I agree. Well, with that said, we need a motion and a second to vote on this one.
I'll make the motion to approve a budget augmentation request from Kennedy Jenks for well 11B.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Director Arthur,
Aye.
Director Bowden,
Aye.
Director Leeser,
Aye.
Director Woods,
Aye.
Director Cogley.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, moving forward. Item 6, discussion of letter of intent to purchase interest in wireless site from TowerPoint.
The district has been contacted by a company named TowerPoint in regards to purchasing the cellular telecommunication tower leases up at the Donnell Reservoir. Up at that facility currently, the district's current budget shows a revenue of tower revenue of $164,000. And almost every year we get a 4% increase on that $164,000. This company has been reaching out to us, and I thought it was appropriate to bring it to the board to understand that these companies exist. And they're offering us $2.6 million, $2,651,000 and a little bit of change. But I thought it was important that you guys see some of the things that we deal with, and at times I was turned down. But to take into consideration, if we were in a hard time and needed the money for a project that was going on, this could be a good time to do the lease revenue to sell this off. But I wanted to bring it as a discussion and to see if you guys had any other comments, or would we want to see us get a true proposal on this project. So I'm just bringing it as a discussion item today.
I have a lot of questions.
Me too.
I apologize in advance. And I apologize again if any of my questions are coming from a place of I just don't
Get it.
I don't understand. So, well, I think I understand, but maybe I don't. So I'm just going to start, okay? And I would say anybody else up here, if you have a question that would piggyback onto a question I would ask, but I have a lot of questions, okay? So my first question is really a simple question. Is why would PowerPoint pay us a large lump sum today unless they believe that the future revenue stream is worth significantly more? That's my first question. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So it wasn't a stupid question. Thank you. I'm questioning if the asset is worth buying, then what total future revenue do they project receiving from this site? And I understand that you said we're getting about 164K a year, give or take, maybe it goes up 3 or 4%. And I understand that if you value it, my questions are all going to deal with valuation, okay? Because it might seem on the surface like, oh, okay, well, you'd have to go 20 years, you know, make that up, or whatever, at current market rate. So
16.16.
thank you very much. Okay. So I would say that everything that I'm going to ask right now is focused on evaluation, not evaluation, evaluation. So I would ask number one, and hopefully someone will keep track of the questions that I ask, because perhaps that would be answerable today, or maybe they won't be needed to be answered because we're not going to move forward with asking for a formal proposal, whatever. But you brought it, and there has to be a reason why you brought it. So what specific rights are we selling? I understand that we would be selling for 99 years any right to rent or gain a revenue stream from what's currently there. So my concern would be in that transaction if, again, we think that we're selling one revenue stream, but we're actually giving away other revenue streams. For instance, what if there comes in the future, long after my time, a 5G, a 6G network, a broadband, a safety network, other equipment that might need to be added? Can that possibly be worth more than what they would give us in a lump sum, A, or B, worth more than we're currently receiving in a revenue stream at $164,000? So I'm asking that question. What about, I did read what carriers are there right now, right? What if additional carriers wanted to come? I understand they're not here right now, but we also don't know what the future, that concerns me. Moving on, have we ever had an independent valuation performed on what the actual value is of that property over and above what it is that we're renting out, or, you know, the stream of revenue that we're getting? Don't know the answer. How would we know, and I know this is early on, right? Like, yeah, board, do you want to move forward with the formal proposal or not? But how would we know if Tower Point's offer is even competitive in that kind of world, right? I mean, are we actually like selling the underlying property? I mean, you know, not sure about that, right? So questions that I would ask to the staff, not to Tower Point in whatever proposal they would have, but to the staff here. Why would we want to sell it? Do we have, and you mentioned something like, oh, well, do we have an immediate fiscal need? Do we have a project, an immediate budget need, a capital project? Do we have a debt reduction that we need to do? Do we have an operational necessity? We just had a conversation about what may be coming up. So that would be a question for staff. And what we would do with the proceeds then, because as a fiduciary, right, to the constituents of 29 Palms, I would want to know that. Are we converting a permanent income stream, Scott, into a one-time budget thing? Would want to know that. Well, obviously, the answer is yes, but is that, you know, is that worth it? The loss of future revenue. I told you, I apologize in advance. The loss of future revenue, this is the biggest issue for me, because a fixed lump sum maybe look much smaller in hindsight, depending upon people who know much more than me about the valuation of this property and what we get from it. Would we discover later, could we discover later that the site would be significantly more valuable than we think right now? So the ways that a public agency, as a fiduciary for a public agency, I would want to have a conversation about undervaluation, which is a common risk. I would want to have a conversation about any kind of hidden transfer, you know, rates of transfer. Maybe is there transferability that is over and above or more than the board is actually looking at right now for future. And the last question, again, towards fiduciary responsibility, I would want an independent valuation if it has not already been done. If you can't answer that right now, if the site's projected revenue over the remaining life of the time we would own the property, and compare it to the value of Tower Point's offer, and explain to me as a board member why selling it in the long term, or would be in the long-term financial interest for me. So those are all the things I had. Questions, comments, statements? Thank you.
Great comments, statements, questions. For 3 years, I have dodged this company and let them know we are not in a spot to take this on, because we are not hurting fiduciaries responsibility, where we have money in the bank. But I also feel like every time I've made a decision and they've come back, why haven't I ran this by this board? If you were to ask what staff's recommendation would be, it wouldn't be to not do this lease, obviously. We think the revenue stream is too important. Go ahead, sorry.
No.
Yeah.
So really I was doing it as an open discussion to see how you guys felt, because this company has approached us multiple times. If we did feel like this was a proposal that we were interested in, we would go after more bids. We wouldn't settle for one. I even took this to the consideration of taking it to our IT personnel and saying, hey, I've gotten this approach, and what do you think? He says, well, Matt, what happens if those cell phone towers go away and we start doing everything by satellite? You sold it off, and now all of a sudden they go away. So Matt, there could be a reason why you do it. So I took that into consideration, just hearing him. So I appreciated those facts, but I do think for us, the benefit would be that the revenue stream is too important for us to sell this off. I don't think it's enough. I would agree that 2.6 to us is not enough to sell this cell phone tower site off. But these companies are reaching out to everybody that owns these cell phone tower companies. The other thing that I looked into, that cell phone tower revenue up there at Donnell Hill, if we were in LA, one thing is they're based off the population where you live, and they're based off the people. They already have set things. It's not like you go in and negotiate this contract and say, no, we want this and this. That same site in LA is $1 million a month, if not more, because it's more based off population. So again, $164,000 a year for us to have a revenue stream. And remember, quote me if I'm wrong, this is considered unrestricted.
Yeah, the revenue.
So
we're not-
unrestricted funds here don't have to go to water stuff. So sometimes
Yeah.
now we do already have places where this 164 goes, but also that's another reason why we keep the unrestricted stuff to ourselves. I mean, so I think those are very valid and great questions. BBK does have an expert in cell phone tower revenue every time we have a question up there, including if we ever feel like we're being under-evaluated, that they can do some kind of evaluation. Do I know what that is? I do not know what that is.
I just thought it was important, again, not because I am not an expert in this whatsoever, obviously. My questions were, I thought, what a normal person would ask when you just raised my rates. You know, and even though, again, we feel like the rate raise was very minor, right? There was a reason behind for future sustainability and solvency why you do that, right? So when you're talking about that, or if somebody, I don't know, who would ever know that somebody asked you to buy this out, I don't know. But if they did, or, you know, like the solar thing that happened out here off a 2 mile, right? And it's a huge, you know, conglomeration of the people don't want it, well, that's too bad. And, you know, all those things that happen, somehow or another, having this open discussion where it is actually recorded and having the discussion for people to say, this is why we're not going to take $2.6 million, because there's underlying ways that a public agency can get taken advantage of. Correct. Because you're going for a short term instead of a long term. And this not being my area of expertise, I thought perhaps I would raise these questions with everybody else here, so there could be a discussion.
Just straight up dollars and cents, if 16 years would be the break point. And that doesn't include the 4% a year it goes up. So.
Right, yeah, 30, over these leases that we have for the property are 30 years. If we take the 164 times 30 years, it's almost $5 million. That's without factoring in our increases, which vary between 2 to 4% on the different properties. And I'll add to, I think this year we had a cell tower modification where they wanted additional equipment out there, and they're paying us more now every month on top of a one-time additional payment. So we continue to get more development.
Yeah, anytime they do something to the site, they have to get approval. It has to go through BBK. We have to get paid more if they're using more space.
Yep.
So you're right, there was a modification this year. I think for me, telling this company and companies like this no as much as I have, and not bringing it maybe to the attention of our community, to show that we aren't worried about $2.6 million and we're very responsible with our money here. We're funding a $3.4 million project internally with no grant funds. That also should tell this community that we're doing the things right to put money in the bank. This is one of those things that I was hoping towards the end of the conversation you had asked what staff's recommendation would be, because I would definitely give it to you. And I think you guys know where I stand with it, but I also think in a public forum it's nice to have this conversation.
And that's why it's in front of us.
Yeah, well, my reading through that was like, it sounds like they want to pay me upfront a fraction of what it's worth. And then what I couldn't figure out is, do we keep getting the revenues we're getting now in perpetuity for 99 years, or do they take all the revenues and all the new revenues?
They take it all.
Yeah, no, it's a bad deal. It's a really bad deal. I mean, why would I give you something of value to us at half value and give up all the potential for future incomes that are going to be coming?
Exactly.
And the reason, Randy, it was twofold for me, right?
Yeah.
There had to be one of two reasons, right? Either we considered that stream of revenue so insignificant, which can't be true,
No,
or we were in a financial strait where we needed that 2.6 right now.
Like a
which
lot of
also
other
can't be true.
districts.
So there was no reason for me to say, yes, I want you to go and get a proposal for this, but I wanted to ask all those questions out with, a lot of you guys have way more experience in this.
yeah, I just did simple math going 99 years, this much a year. Oh, that's this much money. And they only want to give us that much for it up front and give us nothing
So the
later?
realistic, reason why these companies exist is there are people that are hurting. There are small water districts that are getting taken over. So if you put 2.6 in their pocket, 2.6 million on revenues, and they're not getting the revenue.
Yeah, somebody might fall for it.
They may fall for it because they stay afloat for another year or two. We're not in the financial
Nope.
means to be doing things like this.
Okay.
And I just wanted to kind of brought to
And it's our high ground.
When I was reading this, I actually looked at it from a little bit different perspective. And Matt, you and I both, we've talked several times. I love that we have this tower because I think it's just smart to have different income streams. I think that's just good business for anything. But when I looked at this, when I approach business, I always say cash is king. Because if I have the cash today, whatever I'm banking on tomorrow is not guaranteed. So I actually looked at this from the opposite, from the get-go, as, hey, this is a good deal. But I was like, okay, if we do this, what would I, as a director, want that money to be used? I'd want that put into some interest-bearing account. My question was going to be, does it remain unrestricted? Or if we do this, does that then become restricted funds?
And I think that would be a good question in a scenario where something like
Yeah,
that.
if we sold it off
We
for-
might restrict it as a part of the deal. We might say, we'll take this money, to take the 2.6, but now we're going to create a bucket, we're going to create a fund to restrict this, to use it for a signified purpose. It is.
And then it is restricted to
if
that
you don't have
function.
an immediate use for it, and we're trying to create a long-term investment or something in that.
And with that, I was, okay, assuming we put it into its own separate account and we get a very modest 4% return, that's a little over $100,000. But then I looked at it, I'm like, we're getting $164,000 every year right now. So if we were to do this, we have the money, but our income goes down immediately. But just if we were to just bank the interest, because I was thinking of it of, is it going to be enough money for us to hire more workers, 1 or 2 more workers, if it was unrestricted? But that 100,000 being significantly less than the 164, I was like, I still kind of like having the 164 unrestricted every year.
Yeah, well, we might need that money to purchase a mandated EV for a truck.
Yeah. Very true.
My brain's always different. How long's the technology gonna last?
Well, and that's what our IT
I'm laying
does.
outside on my couch and I see 150 white dots go over my head. Freaks me out. I have no idea what it is. Find out it was Starlink. First time I
Yep.
saw it 2 years ago. Didn't see it again because they made them change it so that it didn't show up and freak everyone out. That's quite a change in a real quick moment.
So that's what Pat said. He sees the telecommunication world going to satellites. And I said, well,
Why aren't they going to go to satellite?
yeah.
I'm just saying, this is a gambler's role right here. If you want
Yeah,
to know the truth.
because, well, there's still a lot of copper in the ground that's being used too for telephone services.
Well,
You know, eventually the scrappers will get it all.
Home phones next year, they're not having
Yeah.
them anymore.
Yeah,
Technology is moving at the
Yep.
speed of light right now. We're sitting here like a bunch of old people, which we
Yeah.
probably are, especially me. Bob, he's even older than
Yeah.
me, I can't believe that, but.
yeah, well, there's a lot of
You know,
debris
really,
floating up top
seriously,
too.
What is gonna happen in 16 years? It's not gonna be the same. Those things might be so antiquated, we can sell them at an antique store, the little things that beam it out. I'll pay $400 for that.
But on the flip side, they might come up with a new use for them and they be even worth more.
Well, they could be receiving centers too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all sorts of possibilities.
It's-
I keep up on tech.
That's just why I'm bringing it up as more of an intergenerational equity concern. You
That's
know,
a
of like,
good
are we,
term.
I'm an educator.
Yes, you are.
So, you know, of, you know, that I gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. It's like, if you don't need the money,
Right.
what, I mean, why would you offer me that much money if it wasn't worth more to you? And that's just the whole thing.
'Cause they're gonna make money.
And it is, you have a consolidation of risk, don't you? You know, I mean, we have a consolidation of risk that it wouldn't be worth anything. They certainly have a consolidation of risk that wouldn't be worth anything, but right now it is worth something. And the revenue stream. So I didn't have an opinion one way or the other than to ask the question. And
That could be a data center.
Answer, yeah.
Great questions, though. Yeah.
Well, you want a Starlink dish on your house, or do you want it on somebody's hill? And you still get it wireless. So 2 1/2 dozen the other.
Yeah, there's nothing to say that Starlink won't be on the Donnell site.
So really, just to have a discussion, see what we kind of deal with behind the scenes. Bob and I did have a discussion, and we thought it was important to bring everybody in an open forum. So that's pretty much why this topic is here today.
This is exciting.
So I'm going to take it the staff recommendation was we shouldn't do this, at least not now, until we know.
Randy, with the way that it is said here, that was said, agendized as a discussion of the letter of intent to purchase interest in the wireless site from TowerPoint. Matt is correct.
Yep.
What is the staff's recommendation? The staff's recommendation is that we do not entertain a proposal at this time to purchase our site. So I would not recommend having staff do any further work
Perfect.
on this proposal.
Correct.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Other than drafting a letter saying no thank you.
Saying again for the third time, no thank you.
Yes, we have run it through our board, and we have discussed it, contrary to your concerns, dear sir.
Pay attention to what's going on now. Something's happening.
All right.
Something's happening. They don't start throwing money if something isn't happening.
If they come back with a double the offer,
Well, I think they're looking at the ability to put, I think the future is,
Doesn't happen.
That was
to
my
happen.
first question.
Yeah.
You did good.
okay,
well, that's the thing. When you look at it, Larry, with all the years out, they wouldn't want a 99-year lease unless there's a profit-making potential in that 99 years. Whatever that coming technology is or may not be,
People have lost everything
they
they
will-
put into something.
yeah, they will own the space to where somebody wants to hang it.
There's lots of losers.
And it won't be us getting revenue from it.
just remember.
I'm not trying to sell it or not
Yeah,
sell it.
yeah.
I'm just saying, something's up. What's
Yep.
going on?
And the House always wins. Item number 7, the consent
they don't.
calendar. Matters under the consent calendar are to be considered routine and will be enacted in a single motion. There'll be no separate discussion on these items unless the board, staff, or the public request specific items to be removed for separate discussion and action before the board votes on the motion to adopt. They consist of the minutes of the regular meeting held on May 27th, 2026, and the audit list. Do I have a motion and a second?
I do move to adopt the consent calendar, please.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Item number 8. There is no item number 8 because there was nothing removed. Item number 9. Manager report. Maintenance. Mr. Frank.
Good evening, Board of Directors. The Operation and Maintenance Department performed the following tasks during the month of May. Responded to 23 USA tickets. We had 3 leak audits, painted 116 fire hydrants. Total completed work orders, 591, exercised 109 valves. There were 1,312 past due bills, totaled $7,441 in penalty fees. And if the board has any questions, if not, I'll move on to water quality. Water quality, bacteria samples. A total of 40 routine bacteria samples were collected at test point for the storage and distribution system during this past month. All routine and special samples indicated absent for call alert. The district produced 207 acre feet, which is a 24% decrease compared to the same month in 2013. And in 2013, we produced 275 acre feet. And if the board has any questions, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mike?
No.
Okay. Mike, thank you very much for those two reports. Scott, that puts you up next with finance.
Good evening. Included in packets tonight are financial reports through April 2026. All things equal, target budget percent this month would be around 83%. Overall operating revenues for the district is right on target, 83% on the year. Non-operating revenues exceeding targets for about 104% of budget, driven by increased capital impact fees and meter install activity going on during the year, as well as increased interest revenue. We made very conservative interest budgets and assumed a higher level of spending than we saw in capital. So we'll see that decrease in our upcoming budget cycle for fiscal '27. Otherwise, one item I did want to highlight, pertinent to our discussion on the tower revenues. On our P&L detail, line 11 gives tower revenues. Those are all the different cell tower agreements that come in during the month. Budget for this current fiscal year at the $164,000. This line has like an offsetting side at the bottom of the P&L detail on lines 62 are pension and OPEB trust contributions. That's been the practice of the district for as many years as I've been involved with the district, at least for whatever our cell tower revenue is, that's the amount we contribute to our pension and OPEB trust. So that's how the district is using this unrestricted funds. We're investing it into these tax-advantaged trusts, earning a higher rate of return than we'd be able to invest under standard investments in lay for class, and shooing those funds away to pay for future pension benefits and retiree health benefits.
We'll be losing even more money.
With that, happy to answer any questions on the board.
Any questions, Scott?
None from me, thank you.
And General Manager.
Keep it quick for you guys. Coming to the end of the fiscal year 25-26, district staff is prepping for the new fiscal year, going through inventory, doing all the things necessary to get ready. Auditors have already scheduled appointments, so we have the audit starting soon. They've made their calls, and we're engaged with them already. The district is currently looking for service worker positions out in the fields, conducting interviews this week. After the last board meeting, we're prepping the final urban water management and water shortage contingency plan to be turned in to the state. So those plans went well, but we haven't submitted them quite yet. And on an exciting news, Van Dyke has started the redundant reservoir job. We have done the overacts and the subgrade work. We're still working with them on all the submittals and some changes that are already being made out at the site. But it's exciting for especially the new guys at the treatment plant to help us with construction management. So we're taking on internal construction management there. And really, it's going to be a busy couple months. So starting that job and getting rolling, we're excited to see kind of what the new fiscal year has for us, because we're going to spend some money this year. So if the board has any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
We're going to spend some money that we already have.
Right. Our CIP budget is pretty high.
This is the rainy
That's a
day.
good point.
Good point. Correct.
I know that our next item is a closed session for our general manager, but I want to remind everybody while we're still at one place. Next month, July, our board meeting is scheduled for the 3rd Wednesday of the month, not the 4th.
Send my phone.
Friendly reminder, and that was a special request from one of the members. So with that, we're going to go to closed session.
He even said, I could be at the presentation. I said,
You should definitely drive all the way out here for that. I would recommend
he
it.
wanted to zoom in.
I would recommend it. Matt Schrag with 1G.
What are you gonna do? Scraggy and Scooby?
Okay, so coming out of closed session, there's nothing to report under the auspices of the Brown Act. So agenda item number 11 are future agenda items and staff tasks, director's comments and reports. Director Bowden, anything? Okay. Director Woods?
Nothing, thank you.
Director Rucker?
Nothing.
Director Luker?
Nothing.
And the only thing that I have is that issue we talked about earlier on the fire-only laws or whatever that, like an explanation of how that's going to affect us, how many properties, all the mail. Need a motion and a second to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Look at what you did.